When you're looking in hindsight, you need to be looking to see what you could have done differently, what you learned from that process, and what you can do differently moving forward. It is not for you to go back and beat yourself up. It is not for you to go back and say how stupid you are. It is not for you to go back and say how you screwed up your life and you don't know how you're ever going to come back out of it. What's up, ladies, and welcome back to another episode of Her Clarity Space, the space where women come to gain self-trust one truth at a time. So let's talk about self-forgiveness. You struggle with forgiving yourself when it comes to making certain decisions, especially the hard decisions. Why do you struggle with accepting the hard decisions? I can tell you why. Because a lot of times they're emotional, they're impulsive, or their survival. We make a lot of our decisions in emotionally heightened states. And sometimes they're emotional and they are impulsive. And sometimes they are emotional, impulsive, and they're made because you're just trying to survive. And that can be mentally, physically, emotionally, and or financially. There are a lot of decisions that you've made based on your emotions. And the reason why you ended up making those decisions while you were in that emotional state is because you were too afraid to make them when you were not. You see, a lot of times when you are making those emotional decisions, those are decisions that you already wanted to make. You just never took the step. You just never said the words. But it took for you to get your back pushed up against the wall in order for you to finally not only be honest with yourself, but to be honest with all parties involved. And what happens? It comes off mean. Sometimes it comes off aggressive. Sometimes you come off insensitive. And then you instantly feel like you possibly regret the decision that you just made. But it's not because of the decision, it's because of your delivery. Now let's talk about the impulsive decisions. Your impulsive spending, your impulsive commitment, your impulsive life changes. Being impulsive isn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes you do just have to make a decision on the fly, but sometimes you don't. When it comes to purchasing things that you don't need, that are not necessities, when you know that you are in a financial bind, when it comes to you committing yourself to someone way too soon when you haven't even seen them in 2 seasons of their lives, and when it comes to quitting your job without a plan because you're just tired of the work environment, you're tired of the low pay, and you're tired of your boss. And there's nothing wrong with making these decisions as long as you have a clear plan, which is why we always have a clearer view in hindsight. Don't you just love hindsight? In hindsight, we understand life through and through. In hindsight, we understand every bad decision that we ever made. In hindsight, we are so critical of ourselves because guess what? We're no longer in the space that we were in when we had to make that decision. We are no longer in the space where we were emotionally heightened. We're no longer in that space where we felt like we had to make a decision fast. We are no longer in that space where we felt like we had to make this decision in order for us to be able to survive. So looking back on things, we're always so critical of ourselves because we see things so clearly in hindsight. Hindsight is a very good but risky space to be in if you don't know what to do with the information that you gain while you're looking in hindsight. When you're looking in hindsight, you need to be looking to see what you could have done differently, what you learned from that process, and what you can do differently moving forward. It is not for you to go back and beat yourself up. It is not for you to go back and say how stupid you are. It is not for you to go back and say how you screwed up your life and you don't know how you're ever going to come back out of it. It's not for you to use that information to beat down on yourself. You are your worst critic and you are your biggest obstacle. If you cannot stop the negative thoughts that you have against you, You don't have to worry about anybody else destroying you because you'll do it yourself. Which leads me into the self-judgment. Once again, we're in hindsight. In hindsight, we think about all the bad decisions that we made when we were in different spaces of our lives. Not only were you younger, not only were you not as stable as you are today, you were in the mix. It's easier to see a situation from the outside looking in. The view looks very different when you are inside of the bubble. So, okay, ladies, I know things are just getting good and I hate to interrupt, but if you made it this far and you're enjoying the show, make sure you hit subscribe because, girl, I know you want to join the club. I know you want to be in the in crowd because you don't want to miss out on this amazing journey that we are going on together. And if you find yourself needing any kind of quick advice, make sure you go ahead, go down to the show notes, and there's an option for you to send me a voice note and you will get a response in 24 hours. 24 hours. And you never know, it could be sooner. Now that you've made it outside of the bubble, instead of focusing on, hey, I made it outside the bubble. Maybe it took me some time. Maybe I made a few bad decisions along the way, but I'm out here now. So now let's look back and see what I could have done different. Let's look back and see where I went wrong, if I went wrong at all. Because sometimes just because you don't think it was the best decision, sometimes it was the best decision that you could make with the information and the opportunity that you had in that moment. You cannot compare yourself to others. You cannot compare your situation to other people's situation because that is what fuels you judging yourself so harshly. You're judging yourself for making it out of a bad situation. You're judging yourself for doing what you had to do to survive. You're judging yourself for wanting happiness. You're judging yourself for going after your wild dreams. And if you find yourself judging yourself right now, I need for you to stop. And I need for you to accept the decisions that you have made for yourself. Because I don't care how your relationships are with other people. I don't care what other people say about you. There's nothing in me that will make me believe that you don't want the best for you. And even if the decision that you made seemed crazy as all get out, I still believe that that was the best decision that you felt that you could make in that time. So in this moment, I need for you to repeat after me and say, I accept every decision that I made for myself. I accept every decision that I made for myself. I accept every bad decision. I accept every good decision. I accept every indifferent decision. I accept every impulsive decision. I accept every emotional decision. I accept every decision that I made that I felt that I had to do to survive in that moment. Whether it was surviving a relationship, whether you had to survive abuse, whether you had to survive being down on your luck and struggling financially, whether you had to survive just trying to make it through to the next day mentally because you don't feel like you're strong enough to make it to the next day. But we're here now. And I need you to accept the fact that you did all that you could do and you did the best that you could do. And today is a new day. And you know more, you've lived through more, and you're going to do more, which is why we're going to move into forgiving yourself. Forgive. We extend olive branches to everybody we love. And the main person that we should be loving each and every day, for our legs getting us up out of the bed, for our lungs being able to breathe breath into our bodies, for our hearts constantly beating, for us just being uniquely us, authentically us. Love yourself so much that you can't help but forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. You deserve forgiveness. You don't need your husband to forgive you. You don't need your family to forgive you. You don't need your friends to forgive you. You need to forgive you. People will back you when they see you doing the work. People will support you when they see that you are willing to bet on yourself, and you're not going to bet on yourself, and you're never going to start to trust yourself if you don't forgive yourself today. Today. It's a simple decision. It is a simple decision. I forgive myself. I forgive myself for every bad relationship I attached myself to. I forgive myself for every person I gave too many chances to. I forgive myself for not providing the kind of household and the kind of family dynamic that I felt like my kids deserve. I forgive myself for not going to college, and instead I chose to do what I felt comfortable with. I forgive myself for being too afraid to take a chance on myself. I forgive myself for not choosing to push myself beyond what I feel is my limit. I forgive myself for not living up to my fullest potential. And I forgive myself for not loving myself. I forgive myself for not showing up for myself. I forgive myself for not trusting myself. This is the first start. This is the beginning of your self journey. This is the beginning of your self-trust journey. And I pray that you don't get off this ride, because it's well deserved. And you are deeply loved. And I pray that you feel it. I pray that you're able to move past every horrible moment that you've ever experienced. And I pray that you understand that good, bad, or indifferent, you did what you had to do. But now we're here, and the journey has just begun. Thank you guys so much for sitting through this episode. I will see you guys next week.